All right, today we are breaking down LinkedIn designs. We're going to look at designs, we're going to see why it's good, we're going to talk about it so that you can implement this into your own strategy as well. These are six-figure LinkedIn creators that, from what I've seen, they've said they've made six figures, and this is how they are creating their beginning of funnel using these LinkedIn posts, and these I've found them to be very effective because they're actually getting reposts, comments, and all that. So we're going to look at them, we're going to break them down so that you can have an idea and understanding of what goes into it so that it looks cohesive. Now, let's start with the first one. This is Ruben Hasid. He's known as a AI guy. And from this image, you can see that it has one bold character in the middle, which is like a Zeus figure, and there's a text. So from the text, you can see right away there's also the from 0 to 11.5 million and in 31 days with AI. Now, there's a couple elements to this. First, it's the 0 to 11.5 million views, which is, it's like saying, hey, you can go from 0 to 100, except this is 11.5 million. And then from there, in only 131 days, which is relatively a short amount of time, 4 months or so, with AI. So he's tapping three things. He's doing all right, we're going at a fast pace to this goal, and we are using AI, which is on brand with him. And I guess he added the LinkedIn on the hand so that it's relevant to the platform. And as you can see here, there is 261 comments, 900 likes, 70 reposts, and it's only a week long. Now, we're not going to go into content this time. We're just going to go over the look, the vibe of the design. So we'll move on to the next one. The next one is this one that Shushank here made, and I've seen it a few times as well. It's using familiar Marvel characters, and this is actually super easy to make these days. Like with AI, you could just prompt these characters to be made in any Marvel comic style or anime style or any style really, and then you just add these caption boxes on top. So from here, this one's talking about 10 websites to get a remote job. He also included some of the captions on like what they might be saying to each other. So Hulk is here miserable. He's saying, I'm tired of working from office. And then Superman's like, don't you know platforms to get remote jobs easily? So essentially this is all tying into the joke of the platforms that you can find remote work from. Now the thing with this is it's using easily recognizable characters. I'm not sure how long this is going to last, like how you're generating these copyrighted figures like Mickey Mouse, Superman, Hulk, Marvel characters, like recognizable figures. I don't know how long this will last, but since AI and all that is kind of new right now, I'm sure you could just run this for a bit. If it eventually gets like blocked or there's regulations against it, that's when you just stop doing it. But right now, it's still doable, and you can really tap into people by just showing these recognizable characters. Like everybody around the world knows Superman, knows a Hulk. And this post did really well too. It got 111 comments and 376 likes and 47 reposts, and it's only been up for 5 hours. This is crazy. So the next one is Charlie Hill's post, which I like this one because it's a mix of the corporate, but not like corporate. It's like professional, where you can see that this is organized out. Like if you sent this in an email to your boss or something in a big company, this is fine. Like this looks presentable. And there's some things to note with this is that they packed a lot of information into one image. Now, previously to this, and I mean, people are still doing it, it's putting a PDF document with all these different slides, and then you can click on the next button to see all the slides. Now, what he did here was basically combine all of that into one value bomb of an image. So this is effective because some people see this and they're like, oh, wow. One, it looks like there's a lot of information here, so let's spend some time looking at it and see what we can get. And then two, it makes them look knowledgeable if they share this. So I can see why there's 100 plus reposts and it's only been a day old. And if you look at the information, he says, or he's branded himself as the AI expert. So if he's an AI expert, he's doing something on ChatGPT, then this is probably going to be useful information. And he also includes some prompts to try on this. There's many different elements to this thing that makes it actually really good. So we could break them down individually, actually. So the first one is how he goes into access to your LinkedIn analytics. And so from here, there is a title section. There is the information, kind of where bullet points would go. And then there's the screenshot that would supplement all of this so you can understand what's happening in there. And then the next one, it's also something similar. Title explains it and then has a screenshot to show what's going on. And then I guess 34 is also the same. 5 is also the same. And essentially that's it. So in this format, he has the title, the bold title that shows what's going on there, and then he describes it a little bit with the instructions on what to do right underneath that. And then a screenshot to show you effectively what you should be looking at. And some prompts to try is a good follow along so that as you are looking at this, you want to put it into practice, you can use these prompts to follow along and try it out. He also does a couple other things with the design elements that are very well thought out. So the first part, how to use ChatGPT to analyze LinkedIn profiles. From here you see smart use of the color. It's a darker navy blue, which is these days kind of on brand with AI branding, which they use a lot of the blue, a darker blue a lot. And then he does this thing where he has the first text line be blue on a white background. So on a white background, as you're scrolling through LinkedIn, this text looks like it's just a massively bolded text. So as you're scrolling, you'll see this massively bolded text on a white background, and it's seamless. Now the next thing he does is he has this blue behind it on the next one with the font, the text in white. What this does is it has a clear visible break, but with the text in white, it makes it pop out very well. Also, as you go down, you can see that he has a little box to highlight prompts to try. Also, there's a gradient on the prompts to try section, which is very on brand with today. I think things that have gradient on it looks a lot better. I've seen websites that just have a gradient in their site, and something about it just has this very modern type of feel to it that just looks good. So when in doubt, at this time, use gradient. And then finally, on the bottom, he has a couple things to end with. Now, the first one is a follow, so follow him, and then his photo there, his name, and then what he does, so he's an AI content marketer for more helpful content. And then finally, there's that repost symbol. It's not actually a repost button, but just a symbol to remind you. That's like the call to action at the end of everything. Because if you read about how we consume media, it's kind of like we look at the top and then we scroll over and then we go down a bit and then we look over again. And then eventually to the end, the last thing that we look at is the repost that he has here. So this is genius. I like how this is put together. It's very well thought out and done very well. Now the next one is this person, Dora, who has a image with quotes on it, or essentially just one quote on it. And it says, "How great leaders create psychological safety." Now, this is potentially a good time to do this because this is generated on AI, and you can just tell. And if you want to do something like this, you still can, because there's still a market that doesn't really understand how AI can look or what even is AI. So you can create an image of a office, maybe in Brooklyn or something, with a red brick background with a giant whiteboard in the back. And then from this whiteboard, you can just write your text on top of it. So here it's like her writing something that looks like a poem, right? But essentially it's big bolded text and then the supplementary information underneath. And really you could put any text in here. This is the reason this is here is to highlight that there is text or something to bring your attention to. Now from here you could also see the color use that she uses. She has black and red. Red is kind of like this bold color that is like, hey, look at me. So this is emphasizing psychological safety. And if you look at this too, it's also on brand with what is appreciated by us these days. So maybe millennials and older Gen Z. So there's like these trees that look kind of like it's something that fits into a Brooklyn studio, and these chairs that almost look mid-century modern. I can't really tell what the inspiration on this is, and I'm not an architect, but this looks pretty decent. And I guess she has her image on the bottom, huh? Yeah, just I guess just so if somebody steals this image, then her image is there. Um, so this easily doable. If you're struggling to come out with ideas, you can just prompt something on an AI image generator with a whiteboard or somewhere you could put text in, and then you can create something like this. The post did really well. It's 3 days old, 277 reposts, 600 comments. That's pretty good in my book. All right, so now we're gonna go into Harvey Lee's. So Harvey Lee did this one where he has an infographic, and from here there are a couple approaches to the art. So this art has a very similar style, and the best way to do this is actually to hire a designer. If you have the budget, if your campaign is big enough, it's definitely worth it to hire a designer. But if you're a smaller creator, you're a smaller brand, or if you just want to bootstrap everything, you can definitely use AI to find which type of art that you like. So what I like to do is I even go on Canva, I find the art that I like on Canva, and I copy that style by referencing it on Midjourney and then generating it based on that style. We can go into that in another video, but we're going over this today. So here you can see his design style. Now, first things first is the top, kind of like the person earlier with the blue graphic. This has winning over difficult colleagues. A couple elements that are used. The gradient on difficult challenges, and then winning over. Now, winning over, if you notice, this is a condensed sans serif font, and a few years ago, I want to say like 5 to 10 years ago, and maybe not that long, but like at least 5 years ago, these fonts were it. Like people love these fonts, like condensed sans serif fonts that are bold. These days, it's starting to change a bit more. We're seeing a lot more serif fonts and just like a throwback, maybe homage to nostalgia of the 1980s and different times in history. So it's not so much, this is not the trend anymore, but if your audience is a bit older millennial or something, this could definitely still work. And the rest is actually done super well. So the fonts, the other fonts that he uses are super modern, and you could still keep those. You can still keep this top one as well. I just feel like there are other fonts that would represent you being someone that is a bit more modern in this day and age, but this is still good. Now, difficult colleagues as well, like all caps, is kind of an older trend, but the use of this kind of wild looking, unpredictable font is cool. So he's breaking away from just the normal winning over font here, but here it's kind of like a brush. So brushes are like, we're free, we're loud, we're different. So after that, there's a line break, and then 6 bullet points, and then 7 and 8. So I guess from this design, I would say that maybe the most important ones are on the bottom because it's highlighted with black. Now, you could use other colors as well. This is just the color that he has in his template. Like for example, if his color template here, you can kind of see it's like black, red, yellow. You could also change this to maybe red. If red is too bold, then maybe change it to yellow. And if yellow is not it, then maybe back to black again. And then if he does that, then potentially on the bottom, have it black. So this is just like what the other guy did. So want a high-res PDF of this, try my newsletter. So all right, this is like the last call to action. You finish looking and consuming the graphic. Now you're ending, oh, what is this? So you're checking out what the rest of this says. It's this call to action. and then it's him. So you can kind of remember who he is before you leave onto the next post. Now, this is a super easy to make post. Like this is just a simple post on a paper background, font that was typed out. I think it's the same font. Now, you could also see that some things that could be taken note of is like maybe the number is a bit lower than the T for tiny. It's not that big of a deal, but I just wanted to show that even posts like this that isn't meticulously thought out in the design aspect could still be a good effective graphic. So from here we can let's break this down. Okay, so first things first is there's the paper background. Next is the name. He has his name on the top right. I guess this is a homage to how we used to write our names on our assignments at school. And then there's the title, 12 habits or 12 tiny habits to change your life. You can see his use of green here as the main color. So there's the darkest green, there's the medium-ish green and kind of like a different palette, and then there's the green of the paper in the background. But the paper, you could also say it's kind of yellow, hinting at green, and then the fonts, the main fonts are green as well. Like both these fonts, text, are green. And orange kind of just complements with the green in a subtle way. It complements with a lot of things. So orange is a good color too. Just don't make it super bold, but this type of dull, muted orange, it's a good way to highlight some stuff. So he highlighted change your life. So from afar, if you're looking at it, you see, you're scrolling down, you see this change your life thing pop at you, catches your eye. So you look at the rest, you're like, oh, 12 tiny habits. Hey, maybe I could implement one of these 12 habits. So this is an easy way to just capture attention and then bring people to your post. Now, the next one, also a very easy style to design, similar to the last one. You have a paper background, which you can just get on Canva or download online, like a texture or something like that. Not super important. Essentially, it's just to have something in the back to fall back on so that when you look at this, it's not just a plain, blank, bland background that's white or something. And from here, you can see he literally just have bold text, a line that separates something, like the subtitle or the secondary title, heading 2, and this is heading 1, for example. Subtle signs you may be a bad manager. Bad manager is highlighted in red so that it draws attention to it. And what to do about it, the yellow part is to draw attention to that as well. Also, this looks a little dark, so let me brighten it a little bit. Okay, so the next one we are going to look at. Now, actually, I want to bring attention to how good this post did. It's super minimal, but it got 600 comments, 639 reposts, and 5,600 likes. That's insane. Maybe the information is good, and also maybe because it's just so simple that people want to look at it. So definitely worth trying. Also, his name is on the bottom. And if you want to have an image, something like this, you can, first of all, just create a draft like this on Canva. And then if you like that style, if it's effective, you were testing the image and that style of image is effective, you can isolate the image and then keep recreating them using AI or hire a designer. Now, this next one was a super small creator, but I wanted to highlight that even though this is just super simple, completely AI, like right away this is AI, that it could still do all right. So this has 100 likes, has 36 comments, 28 reposts, and essentially all it is you prompted photo of a Mac on a desk. Maybe you could include the light design or something like that, or the style of it, maybe minimalist, muted dark tone, MacBook on a desk. And that's it. You have the image, you put a little black bar on the bottom, and then, well, I guess he implemented a few things here. Black, white, and yellow. These are color palettes that work together well. So black to have that bar to separate things out. the white for the font, and then the yellow to highlight the things that's important. So that pays in USD for, and then remote jobs. So this is appealing to people who want to get paid in USD, US dollars, and are looking for remote work. So if you're feeling discouraged, try something like this. Just have an image AI generated, have a little box that separates out the image from the text. Maybe ideally the box is just a tiny bit on the bottom, and then big bolded letters to highlight what it is that you are communicating. Maybe it's a 10 facts about AI or machine learning, or 10 ways to close more deals today, depending on what your niche is or whatever your audience is. So this is this guy that I saw his funnel yesterday, and it was actually very well thought out. It was good. It was good. So I took some inspiration from his post just to, I have two here that we're going to go through, and let's just start with this one. Now, the first one is, it's an email, and it's super casual, right? It's just an email, but it shows this insider look of what is happening. So here it's like, he's starting to write emails, and this is someone that's saying, hey, we're ready to go, which is an email that a lot of people want to see. Like someone saying, hey, this is your check for the month, or all right, I'm ready, let's sign up. Or just like, congratulations, we just got 10 million views based on the ideas you gave us, something like this, just exciting emails. So he shot a glimpse of his email, blurred out things that shouldn't be shared, and just posted it. And it looks good. It's in the style of a Gmail format, which is something a lot of us are familiar with. And he rounded the corners to keep it kind of modern. So it depends on what the trend is at the time, but right now rounded corners look good. And then on the back he kind of has this bold but not too bold. You can see that it's a flower, but at the same time he darkened a little bit so that it's not completely pulling attention to that. It's more pulling attention to the email that's screenshotted. And so this got 85 comments, 100 likes, and it's 1 day old. Now, the next one that he did, this is also really good as well, how it's delivered and everything. So for this, it's just the email, another email again, and on a black background. Now, this just has the email pop out. But I think the reason why he has it on a black background is so that he can have these texts be highlighted. You could also use that flower one from the previous example, but if you want to have the text pop out and be highlighted, then you need something behind the text, or maybe to have a border or outline on the text, the words. So depending on how much extra work you want to do, black is just the simplest and easiest. And here you can see that he has post-launch survey executed right on a semi-orange type of background to have that pop as well. And from here, you can see him break down the different parts of this email. And then he's using these arrow signs to point at them. These are super easy to access. You can download packs that have them online, or if you have Canva, it's all on Canva as well. And just overall, this has a couple elements going for it that just makes it very engaging. First, the orange color that pops out on things that need to be looked at. 2, the email format. 3, the text on the black background, which is easy to read, super legible, and he didn't really make the text close or anything. Maybe this is just default, the way that the word, like the lettering is spaced. So even though it's like that, it's still effective, and you don't have to consider every part of an aesthetic to make it an effective graphic. So there's that, and then finally, it's just packaged so well together. Like, I really like this, and his whole presentation is done really well, and you can even see that it's connected to the same orange as his profile photo here. So this 3 days old, it's got 38 comments, 51 likes. He's not a massive creator, which is why I applaud this so much, because with even not that big a following and you're getting responses like this, and probably people that want to work with him, like people that are reaching out and are like, hey, I want some help too, because this is so niche and on point. Anyways, those were all the examples that we have. And If you want to work together, there's links in the description you can look at, and the next video I'll make, I'll go into creating some of these designs. So you can follow along for that if you want, and you can learn how to make these designs quick. Just churn them out, test them out, see if they work for you, and I'll see you in the next video.